Now, joining us today on Arise 360 is Owen Odigie, a creator working across storytelling, business, and culture. He's a Nigerian-American writer, producer, entrepreneur, and the founder of Opulent Entertainment. He's also the creator of Osa's Vantage, a drama series that looks at ambition, identity, and power through the lives of young Black professionals in New York City. Today, he joins us to talk about building African-led stories for a global audience, turning real-life experiences into powerful screen stories, and what the future looks like for Black storytelling on the world stage. Welcome to the show, Owen. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me here. I feel good. It's a great Friday.
Wanted to be TJ. I used to say TGIF all the time, and then I grew up and became an adult, and then it became.
So you stopped thinking about it.
I just stopped thinking about it.
Don't listen to that tonight. That's false. Don't mind it.
All right, then. So let's start with this. You've always been, or you've said that you're not interested in telling small or limited stories, and this was in I believe, a feature that you did on this day, which is the sister company to Arise. Yes. So I did read up on that. What is a big story to you? I wonder, like, from your vantage point.
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think a big story to me, is one that is, it is multifaceted. Mm-hmm. It's complex. It has layered storytelling. It has high production value. It fully reflects who we are on screen. I think a lot of times when you see Black stories, they're very limited or niche. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like we deserve to have the same amount of resources and storytelling and financial power and all the things to make us play, at the biggest stage, on the biggest names, and perform at the highest level.
So, sorry, before you jump in, I'm just curious because something that stood out for me was the fact that there's like a lack of Black professionals in global elite spaces. Why do you think they've been so absent from mainstream film and television?
Yeah, I think the Black professionals are in their jobs, right? Yeah. I think there hasn't really, because it's quite limited, I don't know if there's been, it's really interesting. I always think about why is it that hasn't been represented on screen? Yeah. Because there's a lot of Black professionals in a lot of spaces. I think really it comes down to people not necessarily knowing that these stories are there and they should be told. Yeah. Right? I think, you think about some of the most prominent, Black professionals are doing amazing things, but those stories aren't reflected on TV. And so I kind of noticed that gap. And as I was navigating all my professional spaces, whether it was academic or professional, I just kind of thought, I was like, man, I never see what me and my friends are doing on TV. That's kind of weird, you know? And I was like, then once it kind of hit me, I kept looking and I never saw it. And I was like, be the change you want to see.
100%.
And so I decided to do that.
All right, so my question will come from the angle of what makes a good storyteller? People feel like, when they have stories to tell, they can do it themselves. Yeah. They need to hire, let's say, professional script writers to, tell their story. So what actually makes a good storyteller in your own?
It's a good question. I think what makes a good storyteller is, being able to speak deeply to your or a specific point of view, while also then being able to relate to people universally, right? Because if you think about, how you have navigated or you've navigated your career, there's things that are deeply specific to you and your life experiences, but a lot of people can still relate to them because you're still striving and building for some. So I think it's really the ability to be able to detach yourself, but also write to your specific experience, while then still be able to pull other people in so that they can see pieces of themselves in you.
All right, then. So we're going to have a series soon about me, Anikin, and how we've come to be here.
What's the name of the show?
We have to think about that.
Okay.
Shay and I.
Oh my goodness. So let's talk about Osa's Vantage, right? Yeah. It begins with a simple question about ambition. Yeah. How did that question evolve into a full narrative world that has put you on this journey?
That's a great question. So, when I was at Columbia Business School and Columbia School of Public Policy in New York, I just kind of kept seeing, I was student body president at the school. And, obviously to do that, you have to be quite driven and ambitious. And some would sound that amongst many other things. But I just was looking and I was like, what does this actually look like when you can tell a full and powerful story about being young and Black and ambitious and you're navigating these elite spaces that don't have a lot of precedent for someone like you. And while you're in those spaces, people aren't really used to someone like you in that space, right? And I thought that was just a really powerful question. It was my lived experience, but it was also lived experience of my friends, my cousins, other people I know. And that question just kept gnawing at me. And then it just hit me like, hey, well, why don't you create a story that's based on what's already kind of your surreal lived experience, but you can use yourself as kind of like this, you can be a conduit of other people's experiences, which is back to what I was saying about being specific to your story, but then kind of relating to the masses at scale.
All right, so now I want to come back to African Nollywood especially. Now, how can we do better in rewarding storytellers? I feel like back here at home, people don't really take it seriously because they feel like maybe there's not so much, should I say, cash remunerations in there, and we have a lot of unexplored stories. I feel like Nigeria or Africa generally has a lot of stories that we can actually put on the global market, but we've not done that. Maybe because people feel like, why should I invest in this? Because I have a story. If I don't have money to produce a film, I will keep my story to myself. So how do you think we can change that?
Yeah, if it makes anybody feel better, people say the same abroad as well.
Are you serious?
Yeah. One of the things I think I've had to kind of really educate people on is, I come from, 5 years of Wall Street. I used to work in strategy and investing. And
you left that.
Well, I'm trying to be modest.
Before you continue, why did you leave that part of your life to do this? Is it like passion or
it was honestly just like I just felt like there was a point where I was like, what am I? Yes, the money is great, but every day it felt like I was leaving so much of who I was authentically as a person at the door. And I felt like there was so much of my personality, my skill sets, my insights moving between Nigeria and America and all these things that I was just not using when I'm financially modeling. Like no one cares that I've been to 3 different continents when you have to do a cash flow model. Like nobody cares, So that is kind of what the education for me, even as I've been going to investors, is not just to think about creatives. I think sometimes when you think about creatives, it's kind of like woo woo la la and like we don't know anything. And my approach has been, hey, look, I'm a capital fluent operator who happens to just choose creativity as his execution medium, right? And I think a lot of what will help boost people and get storytelling out there will be if people can get sharper around the business case for why you want to tell stories. Because at the end of the day, art is supplied by commerce. Commerce helps art, right? Yeah. And those two things
what comes first, though?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, art always comes first, right? Art always comes first, and then commerce.
Commerce kind of comes first because if you don't eat, how will you?
But do you feel?
But some of the best things have come from the least amount of resources.
It's true. When you think about a lot of like artists, if you go and look at like their very first albums or very first like movies that are out there where they were really
take for example Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
The first movie, I think he produced it with 4 million. I think what was the name of that movie?
Get Out.
Huh?
Get Out.
The horror movie. 4 million and he made over 200 million. So that's massive.
I think my next question to you is what you do. I know, obviously, you know that you have your own stories that you're telling. When it comes to collaboration, right, with like more local people, you said it yourself, like you're always here, you're in the motherland, like December, January. Are you looking to collaborate more with like local producers, trying to create more, we think about Hollywood, Nollywood, and Bollywood as, the 3, let's say, top markets. So what are you doing to collaborate with this market that you are part of?
That's such a good question. And that's one thing. So right now, my primary focus is getting Elsa's Vantage across the finish line, right? Okay. And I think once that project goes and, becomes a success that I hope it becomes and, has made the noise and made the impact, that opens up the door to then do many other things. And one of my immediate strategic objectives is to come into Nigeria and really tap into, like you guys said, so much talent, so much creativity, so many stories that need to be untapped and told. And so, right now, my primary focus is getting this project across. But immediately after, I'm really, 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 like my cultural thesis is global Black ambition. Wow. I'm trying to tell stories about the Black diaspora. And so I'm really, really focused on, first making it through and getting, the certification of you're now in Hollywood, but then immediately turning that spotlight, that resource, that attention to Nollywood and bring the creatives and come here and bring the resources to now amplify here, because I think there's so much talent that needs to be told and celebrated, and it's beautiful. I mean, my story, Osa's Vantage, wouldn't even exist if I never was from here, and that's why it's really beautiful to come here first. And I made a really, intentional choice to come here first and want to tell the story here first.
Is this your first time coming, or is it something that you've been building up to?
First time coming to
Nigeria?
To Nigeria?
No. Oh, okay. I grew up here in Lagos, so I was like 9 or 10, then I went to the States. Yeah. And then I started coming as a young adult, maybe, let's call it like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, not too bad.
Oh, okay, not too bad.
Not too far off.
It's good. I had to reinvent myself there a couple of times.
When you say reinvent, you like make money.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we don't have to get lost in the details.
Just make money. Okay, so now take a look at our terrain in Nigeria as a whole. If you were to write a story about Nigeria currently, or pick maybe one part of Nigeria that you want to write about, what would you write about? What would you produce if you were to actually, like you say, you know what?
Are you not thinking about like the money? Or
think about Nigeria now. What do you feel you can write about that will make an impact?
I actually have a couple. That's a good question. I actually have a couple ideas.
Okay.
So there's one where I was staying at this pretty nice hotel in Lekki, and I was just like having breakfast one day, and I was looking at the people who were working, and I thought, man, it'd be really interesting to kind of see a story that really shines a light on the perspective of the employees there and the people who are working there, and how they're looking at somebody like me that are like, oh, look at this Yankee guy, and like just like
I like that,
and I thought like what a powerful story that would be to kind of see how they get to work and what their struggles and what they have to go through. And then I thought about like, all right, well, how would I amplify the stakes? I was like, maybe they'll do something bad, and like I don't want to spook anybody, but like I just thought of a story that would be really cool to see. What is their life kind of, get going in and day out working. An international story I thought about, as you know, many IJGBs, including myself, are now coming back to
Lagos.
Nigeria. And one of the things that I thought about was like, I think as important as it is for people to be coming back to the diaspora, I think we also have to pay a lot of respect and honor, what's going on here. And I think one story that I thought would be cool is like, the beach houses that people do. Imagine there was like some kind of horror story about that. I thought that's like.
Honestly,
sadly, we had a few boats, accidents.
I think maybe he means
to the beach house.
Like at the beach house.
Okay, at the beach house, like some spirits that exist.
That would be really cool.
I always think that'd be a pretty.
She likes spirits. Okay. Let me just, before she comes in, politically, what would you write about if you were to do a political story?
Oh wow.
Trying to put him in trouble?
Right.
No, come on. Like, don't worry, feel free. I mean, I'm sure you pay attention to our politics, right? You pay attention,
I do. So you may. I'm Edo, and I think.
Are you Edo?
Yes.
Do you follow your governor's progress?
Well, listen. Okay, let me say.
Our director is Edo too.
Okay.
And I think they call your governor Akpako Action or something like that.
Okay. I think a lot of the dynamics around the Albas and, like, for example, the Oluwari, I think a lot of that rise and the factions
like the traditional institutions and like the government institutions as they relate to working with the people.
And I think even just if you think about like what is it like to grow up young as a young, knowing that you're going to be Alba one day, like what is that?
Oh, okay.
How does that, like, I think that rise, I'm really interested in stories about like character arcs and where you rise over
I'm thinking about it. This makes sense because, I mean, recently we had someone that was, should I say, stripped naked for a statement he made, even though he didn't like directly or necessarily insult the Oba, but the statement rubbed off the wrong way to people. I think that's Obaseki, Pedro Obaseki. So now, like, I feel like if you can maybe have a story around, should I say, let's say the culture, things that you can say and you can't say, how to respect the culture. I think
at this point, maybe after the show, we need to get you guys like a producer's room so you can come
a little brainstorming
because I'm seeing you wearing the producer's
Producer's hat on,
but
right?
not, yeah, for movies, not for
You know,
life.
another good one, if I can share one. There was actually recently these two big families in Edo that were political rivals. Their names are escaping me right now, but they were pretty intense.
I think you have a couple of families that are like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to mention
but then their kids now got married. And their kids met abroad separately and were like, they didn't care.
That'd be a good one.
And so imagine a story that kind of follows this really intense rivalry, but then there's a lot, but then it ends up together with love. I think that's a really beautiful story.
You should think about it.
You know, the kids have wisdom.
Yeah, they do. We're wrapping up soon, and I usually like to ask my guests this before they go. I mean, you said you've been around for like, at least you were around during December. You're going to be around to like the end.
I stayed clean though.
Are you sure you did? I don't know. I'm saying
Wait, how do you know what she's about to ask? Like,
I'm just prefacing before you even take it anywhere. Yeah,
I'm just curious to know like what your fun time, like what's your like fun thing to do when you're in Lagos? Like what's that thing that you know you go back and you tell your friends in New York like, yo, you need to check this out in Lagos. What do you do to relax as Owen? Yeah.
Well, relax.
I mean, relax
in Lagos,
you can give me two.
That's
You can't relax in Lagos. You can't.
well.
Are you trying to say that all of us that live here are not relaxed?
No. I've actually been quite relaxed, but I'm just, that's a good question.
You can just say it. We can see his ear.
What?
But you're like going through.
When you said you've been clean or you stay clean, what? I clean from what?
Just meaning I've just been relaxed. You know, I've been having a good time. I like to swim. Maybe have a drink by the pool. Right. Reflect.
Yeah.
You know, things of that nature.
All right. Work on your New Year's resolutions and that. All right. Fantastic. Very, very last thing. If anybody's watching this now and they want to like contact you, work with you, they are in their houses pitching their own story ideas, how can they contact you? Yeah,
so I am on Instagram, Osa's Vantage, Instagram at Osa's Vantage. I also have my own personal page, 000 Poppy. It's kind of... Well,
okay.
I know.
Okay,
I'm into it. It is what it is.
Okay.
Also, I have osasvantage.com. And, please reach out. I would love to connect. I think there's a lot of collaboration and a lot of... it's always just good to connect and talk about all the great things that can happen. I'm really excited for 2026 and all the opportunities that arise. So, not to...
Opportunities that arise. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. Really do appreciate the work that you do. 2026, like you said, is going to be a great year, and we're looking to see all the work that you put out.
You come back in December, right?
I'll come back again. I'm always
in December or like before December?
Life is dynamic, so we'll see.
Life changes fast.
Life changes fast.
You never know.
Especially when you're at Creativity Capital and Culture. So
I like that.
Okay.
I like that.